I'm now going to be refitting the steering box. When I say refitting, I got a new steering box. Can't remember where I got it from. Yeah, so the other one had a lot to play in. I couldn't do the adjustment on the top because it was just completely seized up. So I was cutting my losses and thought, just get a replacement, it'd be a lot easier. It is a very heavy unit, so it's going to take a bit to get it in, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Mainly because pretty much everything that would be in the way is out of the way. Suspension wise, anti-roll bar, all stuff underneath, so I've got plenty of access. Coolant pipes are off apart from the metal one, but from what I remember that wasn't in the way. So all I've got to do is chuck a sheet down for me to lie on so I don't get covered in all the debris and that off the ground, and then I can lift that into place. I've got the bolts put in, the 4 bolts put in ready, so I can lift the unit up and then fix on the steering knuckle, which if I remember rightly was quite an awkward thing to do because you've got to kind of slide it into position, slide that on before you can put the bolts in, if I remember rightly. It was a while ago I took it off, so you have to bear with me whilst I just figure it all out. But yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. So at least get the steering box on, and as soon as that's on, I'll change the tensioner as well, because that's making all sorts of noises. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's quite rattling, so I've got that to change as well. So yeah, so I'll get on with that. Okay, so here it goes. Yeah. Well, so far it's easier than when it came out. I'll take the dust boot off of that. Easier from the bottom then. bit more. There we go. That's that one in, and that's 10mm on that one. Come over. Knocked, you can't see what's going on now. These 4 bolts to do it. I'll go find out what the torque settings are for those 4 and those 2 on top there. For the torque settings, I use Haynes manual. Absolutely essential whenever you're doing any sort of work on the car. There are other brands available. A Haynes manual you can't go wrong with. Gives you all the information you could possibly need, tools and stuff you need for the job, the torque settings, specifications, everything. So this obviously for discovery. So what am I doing? Steering. So each section has general repair, body, electrical, suspension and steering. So this is the section I'm after. So I'll go right to the front of the section. Suspension, steering, and here we are. And then torque settings. So I'm looking for that there, steering box bolts, which is 90. That's 90 newton meters for those. 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. And if you can, one smooth motion, but obviously when you're limited to space, there's only so much you can do. now torqued up. Have the steering arm, which goes up and onto the bottom of the steering box, and then a lock washer and a nut to hold it on. So first I'm going to put a bit of grease on to try and help it. This is just a standard lithium grease. Help with the lubrication, help it slide on a bit. And if I'm lucky, stop it sticking or rusting on. I have got copper grease, but sometimes I just prefer to use different greases just to see which is the best. So it goes on that way. I'm pointing to the front, and inside there are, every 90 degrees, there's a wider tooth. So I should show before I chuck a load of grease in. But inside here, I don't know if you can see, you got wider teeth every 90 degrees. So one there, one there, one there, and one at the top. And that means that it can only go on one of 4 positions. So if it's slightly out, i.e. it's turned like a full turn one way or the other, you can't really adjust it with this. You have to adjust it at the steering wheel end. But we'll cover that in a second. So goes on now. So the washer goes that way, that tab going up into the groove. Goes into that groove there. And then your nut simply goes on the bottom. And it's a 40mm nut. Now that winds on. Now before you can tighten it, you've got to get a bolt and wind a bolt up to lock it in place. Hopefully I've got a bolt long enough. But let's get you a bit closer so you can see what I'm on about. So, welcome into the car. So the arm's gone on onto the spline section with those 4 larger splines. The washer's gone on, and that tab has gone into that groove there, and then a nut just on the bottom. And now you get a bolt. I don't think this one's going to be long enough, but there's a hole just there, and the bolt goes through this channel up into that. I don't think this bolt's long enough. No, bolt's nowhere near long enough, which is a pain. I think it's an M8 bolt. No. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go and find a longer bolt, because you need to lock that in place before you try and tighten this. Otherwise, you could turn it out of where it needs to be, if that makes sense. So bear with me. I'm going to go and find a bolt to fit that. And okay, so that's the steering box on, and the steering knuckle and all that on. Just have to get right size socket so I can double check the torque on the bolt on the bottom, or the nut on the bottom, before I fold the edges of that lock washer over. So now I'm moving on to, I'm going to change the tensioner. It's down in there. So for that you need a 14mm socket, and it quite I say simple. It's a lot easier with the radiator and intercooler out of the way, because you've got space to get in. So one bolt in the middle, one 12-point bolt in the centre, and that's your tensioner. Oh yeah, don't know if you can put that near the microphone. Those bearings are definitely really dry in there. Got a lot of play. So that's the old tensioner and new one. Not quieter. So I'll get that put on. There's a locating pin in the back there, which locates into corresponding hole just down the bottom there. So I can't really get a very good angle on it to show you, but yeah, it is there. So I'll locate that in and then put the bolt in and tighten them up. And that. I'm going to refer back to the Haynes manual again to find out what the torque setting is for that one. So we've got, where is it? Oh, right at the top there. Right at the auxiliary drive belt tensioner bolt, 50 Newton meters. There we go. As easy as that. One bolt swapped. Sorry, I didn't even have it tilt. But that's it torqued up. And next on the agenda is the power steering pipes. So I've got a new set of pipes because the old ones are completely rotted out. Completely rotted. So that's because they sit right down the front there. And obviously they're subjected to everything. I should have really painted that. I'll put the pipes in, I'll clean it up and then I can paint it. So let's get the pipes in first. Which way round it goes. remember rightly, that was it. Underneath that one. If, like me, you're having trouble remembering, there's a page in the book. There's a page in the book. Shows you exactly how it goes. Down the bottom there, that one there. Two. Nope. Nope. No. To rework this pipe a bit, because that's not very good just sat there like that. Right. And these bottom ones. right pig to do. How do I get some? These pipes aren't in the way down, are they? That's the cooling pipes on. And it's just that one down there now. Which goes round somehow. And that way. And that way. Like that. And that goes onto that one down there. Found the nut. Finish this off now. Okay, so happy with what I've got done so far. So got the radiator, the intercooler in, new power steering lines on, auxiliary belts on, new tensioners on, new steering boxes on with the arm. I think I need to move this pipe. Yeah, I do need to move that pipe. That's come on the wrong side. That should go on the inside of that. So I'll have to remember to do that before I do anything else next time. Up next will be, I need to rework that pipe. Up next will be finish that side off. So airbox and intercooler pipe in that side. And then that side, then I can top up the power steering fluid. That tub there. So I can top that up and let that filter itself down. There is a bleed on the top there which I can open to let the air out. So I can do that. Then the battery side can go in. Once all that's together, I've still got to put a bulb in. I nicked the bulb out of this to go in the Yaris. I've got new bulbs to go in, so I'll show you how they changed them on this on a separate video. And then it's all the underneath stuff, the axle, suspension, brakes, anti-roll bar, cross member, and I'm unsure as to whether to put the engine tray back on or not. I'm unsure. I'll have a think on that, but that has to go on whilst the car's this hijacked, because it won't go over the axle otherwise. So that definitely needs moving, that pipe. Needs to undo that and just tuck that top one underneath so it can sit on the inside. That'll be a lot better. Like I said, I got quite a lot done today. In a short time, to be fair. I wasn't working on it for long, and I got quite a bit done. So now it's a case of last few bits and pieces before I put the axle, suspension and brakes on. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.